Hello and welcome to S.T.A.R Productions. I'm Max this here, your host, Spiritually Trained and Renewed Productions, where it's not enough to be talented, you have to be spiritually trained and renewed. Today I have a special treat for you. I have a fashion designer in the house. Stay tuned to find out more. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome back to S.T.A.R Productions. I'm Max this here. I have with me today fashion designer Bonita, Dudley, Scott, Parker. Welcome, Bonita.
Thank you, Max.
It's good
nice
to have
being
you.
here.
Good to have you here. If you would say hi to your folks here.
Hi, everybody.
So we talked a while ago to get Bonita here, and I'm so glad she was able to come out of her busy schedule to be with us here at S.T.A.R Productions. Bonita, my question to all my guests are always the same. If you would tell us who is Bonita Dudley Scott Parker?
Well, I suppose the best answer would be to explain. People ask me why so many names.
Sure. Tell us.
My parents were Dr. and Mrs. Charles Dudley. My parents both got me started with sewing and fashion and so forth. And I was Dudley for a long time. Later in life, I married Scot, Joseph Scott, who was disabled right after we got married, and after taking care of him for 18 years, he passed away. And then I met this wonderful man, Fred Parker, and because so many people knew me as Dudley and then they knew me as Scott, I just added Parker onto it. So that's who I am.
Wow. Wow. Well, we're so glad to have you on the show. We met a few years ago, a little bit over 2 years ago, when both my daughter and I, we were the honored models of your fashion line, Sous Savoir Faire. If you would tell us a little bit about Sous Savoir Faire. A lot of people don't know about this line, and I would love for them to know about that line. Tell us a little bit about Sous Savoir Faire.
So savoir-faire is something that well, first of all, I started out just sewing because I enjoy it. And people encouraged me to make a business of it. I did it as a hobby at first. And I thought, what do I name my business? I've always been into the French. My mom's dad was from the French West Indies, and I took French in school, and I loved the language and so forth. Even before I discovered my favorite designer being French. But when I was also, I'm a kid at heart. I love cartoons. One of my favorite cartoon characters is Pepe Le Pew.
That's a good one.
So Pepe Le Pew used to always run around saying, everything is so savoir-faire. So, this is so savoir. Oh, darling, you are so savoir-faire.
Right.
So I thought, I looked up the word savoir-faire, which means to know how to do.
Yes.
And I thought, I can change the word S-O to S-E-W and make it so savoir-faire. So
Genius. I love it. Love it. So the company itself, when was it founded? When did you decide, okay, this is more than just a hobby now? This is going to be business. When did you start that?
I believe I started it in around 1983.
1983. Mm-hmm. So the company is about, let's see.
Do the math.
86, 76 would make the company 42 years. 86 would make it 32 years. 83 makes it 35 years? 35, 36 years? Something like that.
That's something like
We'll work out the math and put it on the screen for you. So, there is a tagline on Sous Savoir-Faire on Facebook, the page. If you didn't know, she does have a business page on Facebook, Sous Savoir-Faire. And the tagline goes like this, and I quote, it says, individually created fashions to suit your discriminating taste. And I love every line, every word in that line. Could you tell us, how did you come up with that sentence? And tell us more. Tell us more about the sentence. What does it mean? Those tag names or tagline.
I came up with it along with my artist who created my logo, and he helped me to understand what it was I do. I'm not one to create a whole bunch of anything. I like to design something just for you. And so in designing just for you, I want it to be your personality or help you to bring out your personality or something like that.
Nice.
So
I like the idea of that custom-made design,
yes,
just for one individual. Matter of fact, before we started the show, you were telling me even when you design a particular outfit and somebody sees it and wants it, you'll always alter it somehow to make it different for the next person.
yes, we were talking about a fashion show, and the most recent fashion show I did, I've had 4 orders for the same dress.
Wow.
And so I've had to tell each person I will do something similar, but I can't, my own policy, I can't give everybody the same dress. It'll be something similar and you'll be happy with it. But I'm going to tweak each one so that it'll fit you.
Well, personally, I like that because I have a lot of my clothes custom made. And it's always good to know that somebody else is not wearing what I'm wearing.
Exactly. That's the whole point.
So I like that. So if someone needed an outfit for a special event or a just because type of a moment, they just want to feel good, they just want a new outfit, what is the timeline? How soon do they need to contact you to get an outfit done for them?
It really will depend on what it is they want and how much time I know it will take me to do it. But on an average, I would ask for at least a month.
A month.
Now, I don't always get that. I sometimes get a few days.
That's a big jump.
Yes, but
Wow. I see. How do you, when you have a new client, what is the process for you to get them in? Do you start with a conversation over the phone to get to know them, or do they send you a picture of what they want? How do you get in a new client and go through that process with them?
Usually if I have a new client, it's because someone has referred them. And usually they call me on the phone first.
Yeah.
And it depends on what they want. If they are calling specifically for a wedding gown or a prom dress or something, I will ask them, do you have in mind what you want? Most of the time people do know what they want, and they'll send me a picture and I'll just create it from that picture. Sometimes they send me several pictures and they'll say, I want the sleeve on this dress and the skirt on this dress.
Nice.
And, you pull it all together.
Wow.
But then there are people who will contact me and say, I want something designed for me, but I don't know what I want. So when they do that or say that, I will ask them about themselves. What do you want? I'll give you an example. I did a fashion show for 50 Forward. They called it, I'm sure everybody's heard of Project Runway. They called it Project Funway. and it was a fundraiser. And their whole thing was to connect Nashville designers with Nashville celebrities. Celebrities meaning people who are out there in business, who big time. So they connected me with a bank president, a female bank president, and they had an introduction party, and I sat there and I talked with my model. These people, the executives were the models for the designers. So I talked with her to find out, what do you do? How do you dress when you go to work? What do you like to do? Because we had to create 3 outfits for that one person. So what do you like to do in your leisure time, your church time, your whatever? And I created 3 different things that looked good, specifically the business one for her to go to work as a banker.
Wow.
And she talked about loving to enjoy being with her family. She hoped to be with them for the 4th of July. So I created a 4th of July red, white, and blue dress
Nice.
for her, and little Southern Belle hat and all that.
Very cool. Wow.
So it's about what you want.
That's pretty cool.
Your personality.
How did you get started into fashion designing?
How did I get started?
Yeah, going from, let me put it more specifically, how did you get started with creating lines for fashion shows? Was somebody somebody reach out to you, know that you do this and wanted you to be part of a fashion show?
Okay, one day I was in the fabric store here in Nashville that I really like, and one of the clerks there had been contacted about doing a fashion show, doing someone's fashion, being in someone's fashion show. And she asked me, did I want to be a part of it? And I'm like, I don't know. I've never done that before, not on that level.
Yeah.
So it started that way. I had no idea what to do, so I just did my own thing. I knew that I needed to come up with a theme and, the whole thing. And we'll talk about this dress, but this was part of that thought process, the ribbons and so forth. And from that one show, there was a lady there, the guest announcer or something on the show. I was in the back. I didn't really get to see the person. It turned out it was Sonia Harrison,
yeah, I believe so.
with notably Nashville. I didn't know who that was or what that was or anything. She came to the back and said, I need you in my show. And I'm like, okay, what show is that? So she asked for my card. She called me up, and that's when I met you and your daughter, to be part of the Notably Nashville that same year. So from that point, it's like it was a higher level, a different level than I've ever been before. I've done fashion shows at church, little school things, but I wanted to, but I never knew where to go, how to start, what to do.
It's quite amazing. The Bible says that your gift will bring you before great men. So it's quite amazing that you weren't even looking for this. It came finding you.
Right. I was.
Fantastic.
And I started not to do it. I started not to do that first one. It was like, I don't know what to do. And because the person that was organizing that one didn't have any specific instructions except to say, just make 15, 20 garments and show them. Okay. So I was on my own to do my own thing. So.
Do you have a specific designer or person who influenced your work?
My favorite designer is Coco Chanel.
Coco Chanel.
I like her work. What inspires me about her work is the detail. I don't necessarily have to do everything in her style.
Mm.
You know, she has the constructed suits and with the trim on them and so forth. But everything is such high quality, high fashion, couture. I learned a new word. I shouldn't say I learned the word. I knew the word. I didn't necessarily know the meaning of the word. But couture is actually what I like to do. That is, make things that are difficult, things that are intricate, things that
Yes.
require hand thinking, not just sewing. It's more than just sewing.
And they said the truth is in the pudding. This is an example of intricacy that we're talking about that she makes look good. Before I move even further, first of all, I love the stress. I love the intricacy here. I love the intertwining of ribbons going into each other. I know a special lady in my life who probably would want me to buy this for her. If you would tell us about this dress, I know you're dying to know about this dress as much as I do. If you would tell us about this dress and all the details, how long it took to make, what are we looking at? I don't know what to call it, so give us some details about this dress here.
I call it my ribbon dress.
Ribbon dress.
And I can't tell you what made me decide to do this, except that in that first fashion show that I mentioned earlier, and I was trying to come up with a theme because I'm not a theme person. I was looking at some fabric leaning against the wall in my studio, and it was a pink silk fabric. And pink made me think of breast cancer. And I thought about a lot of people in my life who have different things, different issues, different challenges, including a lot of them with breast cancer. So I thought, okay, I think I'll make my theme around people that I know that have issues. And I know that pink ribbon represents breast cancer. I went online and looked up a whole lot of ribbons represent a whole lot of different things.
Wow.
So I thought, I'm going to make my theme ribbon colors for causes. That was going to be my theme for that show.
Wow.
So then I thought, well, first of all, from that point on, my favorite designer invented, if you want to call it, the little black dress that comes from Coco Chanel. Every woman should have a little black dress in their closet.
So I've heard.
Yes. So I decided I'm going to go with these ribbons and the colors, and I thought, well, if I'm going to have ribbons and colors being my theme, how about a dress made out of ribbons?
Wow.
So I just decided, let me figure out how to put together a dress out of nothing but ribbons. And since everybody should have a little black dress, why not let this be my little black dress for this show? Matter of fact, I should have brought the white pearls.
Yes.
But anyway,
yes.
that was where that came from, and so I had to do a lot of math to figure out how many yards. It took 160 yards of ribbon.
Wow.
To do this. I miscalculated because when I thought I had enough, I was thinking of what would cover the dress going one way. But it's going two ways. So I had to double.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
So
Whew, I love it, love it.
Have you recorded a beautiful song in the studio, but now you're ready to show the world the imagery? S.T.A.R Productions. We help tell your vision.
So a dress like that takes how long to make?
This one, you mean after or including the weaving?
Yeah, including the weaving.
It took about a
definitely.
month.
A month. My. It's gorgeous dress. Gorgeous dress. Do you remember the first person you ever sewn for, or whoever the earliest person comes to mind you've ever designed anything for?
Besides my mom and my dad, I used to use them as my muse. The most recent person, I guess, is my friend Little Richard,
Little Richard, the singer?
the singer, the king of rock and roll.
The king of rock and roll?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
How did that come about?
He was friends with my parents when I know my dad was a minister, and he had a church in Dallas, Texas. Dallas is also where I started with the professional training of sewing in elementary school. But my dad, Little Richard, at that time was in and out of the church, So this time he was in the church, and he came through Dallas and contacted my dad, and my dad had him to speak there at church that day. They were always very close. My dad was always the kind of person who never judged anybody, and Richard was really big into that. He had an interesting life and lifestyle, but my dad never judged him for that. He was just always a friend.
Yes.
And they remained friends for years. One day I saw him here in Nashville in a restaurant, and I just quietly went over to say hello. And he was very nice and very calm, quiet. And I said, I'm going to tell Dad I saw you. And he said, well, who's your dad? And when I told him Charles Dudley. Oh, he jumped up from the table. Girl, come over here, give me a hug. And he said, I have kept up with your life. I knew about your husband that was in the accident. I know that you sew and all of that. And so I know I've been keeping up with you. So I said, and he said, I'm gonna have to get you to make me something one day. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I gave him my card, and I thought, he ain't gonna call me. But he did. And I sewed for him, I guess, maybe 12 years before he decided to stop singing. I was doing the show clothes for him.
Wow. That is fantastic.
And I like
Fantastic.
bling, and he likes bling, so we got along just fine.
That's fantastic. If we find some outfits that Bonita has them for Little Richards, we'll post them for you so you can see them.
I do.
If you were to go back in time and tell your younger self about the beginning of your career, at the beginning of your career, you would tell your younger self, give yourself some advice. What would be one or two advice you would tell yourself when it comes to the fashion designing or sewing business and the whole idea of couture? What would you tell your younger self?
My younger self would say I don't need to stick with the alma mater. I went to my parents' alma mater. All of us went there, and I'm not knocking that school, but they did not offer fashion anything. The most they had was home economics, which includes cooking. I wasn't interested in cooking or basic sewing. I really wanted to learn the whole business. I would have told my younger self, this is okay, you can go there for a year, but you need to go to a design school.
Oh.
Or a school that actually offers. I didn't really know what I wanted. I knew, or should I say, I didn't know what was out there to know what to choose from. I just know what I didn't want. And so I just stayed there and I took business administration.
I feel you.
And then started sewing on the side.
Yes.
Matter of fact, while I was there, I do more sewing for faculty than I would studying.
Wow. That's pretty cool. What is your biggest fear when you're going out and you're starting a line? Are there any fears involved in preparing a line for a fashion show, or hesitancy involved?
Yes.
What's the biggest fear, if any?
Biggest fear, I guess, is in are they going to like it? Just because I like it doesn't mean they're going to like it.
Gotcha.
But then I had to start realizing that I'm presenting who I am in my fashions. And when I think about myself, I cannot allow how a person feels or dislikes me to affect me.
Absolutely.
So I have to do that with clothes. It's like, okay, I'm going to do what I do. I am so diversified, I guess, eclectic in my designing and thinking that something ought to appeal to everybody.
I agree. I've seen your line, and I think it's a beautiful line. I think I've seen outfit for women you've designed. I'm like, I wish you had a men version. That's how beautiful I think they are.
And I really would love to do men. It's just that they take so much longer. And I'm a detail person. I could make something for a man to walk out on the runway and it would look like nothing on the inside. I could do that real quick. But I want it to be something that when you put it on as a man, you're like,
Yes.
open up this lining and this is all finished. And that takes a lot of time. Most people don't know that men's clothes, though they may look simple on the outside, I'm talking clothes like suits and things.
Yes.
There's a whole lot of stuff underneath, between the outside and the lining.
I agree.
It's a lot of work.
I agree. When I have my suits custom made, there's quite a bit going on the inside of the suit.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
I feel you. Let me ask you, what is your favorite part about designing? What does it do for you?
I love creating. It just, I don't know how to explain it, but it just brings out those things. What is it, endorphins? It just makes me feel happy. Really. And when I think of things, I can be sitting up. I'm during the day, I'm an administrative assistant, so I can be sitting up there typing, and a thought will come.
Designs are coming in,
right? My head, and I get really happy. It's like, okay, I need to hurry up and get home so that I can, or I'll sketch it out. But I love designing, creating. It's not just clothes. I love creating a lot of stuff. You know, like flipping houses. What do you call it? Interior designing. My own house. I haven't tried to do anybody else. But stuff like that. I just love the idea of creating.
Oh, we could tell that's your passion right there. As opposed to doing your 9 to 5, you can't wait to get home and do what you really love to do.
Right.
I feel you.
Right.
How do women tell you how they feel when they wear your outfit, or do you see it in their visage, in their face? What's the expression or what comes out of them when they wear your outfit?
I can reflect back on my more recent shows. I never thought I would get the kind of reaction that I've gotten from the models. And I still don't understand. My husband has tried to get me to understand. I want to figure out why stuff. And it's like, I don't understand what it is about my clothes when people say, I feel so great. I want, somebody came up to me at this last show who had modeled like 2 years before and said, I wish I could do so. I wish I could walk for you. I love wearing your clothes. I'm like, I'm sorry. If somebody backs out, I'll call you. But to hear people say that.
So she wasn't one of your models.
She wasn't one of my
when
models.
When she saw you on the show, she wanted to walk for you.
She wanted to walk for me. It was during rehearsal. She said, I really would like to walk for you. I'm like, oh, okay, well. But just to hear people say that, it's like, what? I don't know. I don't understand it. But apparently, they feel happy.
Wow.
About it.
I love it. Love it. Well, that says something about the designer, you know.
Yeah.
Do you feel pressured to come up with your next best fashion line or your next best outfit?
I don't feel pressured because I'm constantly thinking about something. The biggest pressure is hurrying up to get whatever it is I'm doing now so I can get to this over here that I have in my head.
Right.
You know, that's
right.
The most pressure, but to come up with what I'm going to do for the next show, I don't know.
That creative mind is always,
it's always
going.
There.
Oh.
It's always there. Plus, I usually put it down on paper.
Yes.
So if I run out of an idea, I know I can go back and say, oh yeah, I did say I wanted to do this. I wanted to do this.
Well, let's just say, like your last fashion show, and you had people who wanted the same outfit. Do people like contact you right after a show? Do they call you right afterwards? How do they, when they want an outfit that was on the runway, how do they reach out to you? Is this like right after, hey, can I get this outfit, or?
At that last show, there were people who actually waited for me to come from the back because they wanted that dress right there.
Yes.
Remember that dress, that white dress? I want that one. And it was a man. I want that one for my wife.
Yes.
I want that. And he has since said, I was serious about that. I want you to make that dress for my wife. I'm like, okay, I believe you. Now, there are those who have said after the show, I want you to make such and such for me. And I don't hear anything from them, and I don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I don't sit up and wait to hear people, and I don't go after people. Although some people say I should do that. I don't, just because you say you want me to make you something,
yes, I
don't necessarily, like Little Richard, I didn't believe it. So I wasn't about to call him, you know. So.
When the fashion show's happening, what is the process for you as a fashion designer? Are there any prerequisites they're asking of you? Are they asking for X amount of clothes you should have to be qualified to be in this fashion show?
When I was doing the Notably Nashville, Sonia asked me to make 30 outfits. But then she said, you can use some of those that I've seen tonight because it'll be a whole different audience. I'm like, oh, good. I only have to make 15
Wow.
instead of 30. This last one, the person that was running the show wanted me to use only the models that they provided. But then I decided, okay, I'm going to speak up for myself. I said, I have two people that I need them for my models. Oh no, because I didn't really want to do that show either. And I said, that's the only way I'm going to get you. I mean, you're going to get me.
Yes.
To do this, I have to have my two models along with yours. So I got them.
Hey, listen, the designer, the fashion designer, without him or her, you don't have a show. So, you know, there's going to have to be some compromise here to make the show happen.
But I'm not one that usually makes demands. I'm just like, okay, you know,
But in this
Kind
case,
of
you
mousy.
just had to speak up.
I had to speak up because I was that passionate about my two people.
Wow.
So, and I didn't know anybody else was going to be assigned to me. I didn't know them at that point. So
Wow.
I knew that I wanted a certain look to walk down the runway, and I knew two different people, and they have two different personalities and two different styles, but they still show the way I want to show.
Yes.
And I didn't care about what everybody else. Well, I did care, but
Which brings me to my next question. In order for a model to walk for you, what is it they have to keep in mind or not do in order for you to kind of like him the way you like those two models and actually rooting for them? What are the two do's for models to walk for Sous Savoir-Faire?
I want them to have to be happy. I want them to walk out and own what they have on, and remember that you are selling the clothing. Unfortunately, too many shows show body, and the body language says I'm selling sex. It doesn't say I'm selling clothes.
I feel you.
I don't like that.
Yes, yes. Well, just for those who are not too familiar with the fashion business, you're all right. When it comes to a fashion show, we're selling a clothes. And when it comes to professional fashion show, there's a standard that is required of all fashion designer, of all models. And there's a particular walk that's required. And once you start going out of that frame, then it no longer becomes a professional fashion show. Because there are certain things we do at Moms and Dad's fashion show, we don't do them on the runway. We just don't. Tell us about the role that you play as a fashion designer when a fashion show happens. Because I've seen models, in my interaction with you, I've seen models looking forward to wear your clothing, or they feel a special bond to you as a fashion designer. So I wanted to know, what role do you think you play, or do you feel like you play for the making of a fashion show?
Well, I believe that the Lord blessed me with this whole level late in my life. It's like women who have babies when they're 40 and 50 years old, whatever. So I've developed this passion for people. I got that from my dad. Treat people the way you want to be treated. And because I didn't know anything about the industry, I didn't know that a lot of designers are not necessarily, kind, and I actually had a chance to see some of these people talk very negatively, unfavorably to the models. And my thing is, the models are doing me a favor. I should be nice to them. So I actually have had several of them. They call me Mama. They call me Mama B. They call me, lots of endearing names because they see me as someone who cares about them. And I really do. I care about my models because I care about people. I don't like to see them mistreated.
Yes.
I had an incident. I won't really go into it, but recently something was said. One of the models before the show asked a question, and the response from the director I'm like, oh no, you don't talk to people that way. But I thought, well, that's not my show, and I felt like I needed to apologize, even though it didn't come from me. It's like, I just feel like people should be treated the way I would want to be treated.
Absolutely.
And if you holler at me, I'm going to cry.
Unfortunately, it's a brutal business.
I know.
And
but I don't have
designers
to be
like
brutal,
you are one in a million in this business that have the kind of kindness the demeanor, the heart that models are going after. They want to walk for you all the time because they know they're not just part of a fashion show. They feel like they're part of a family. You know, it's unfortunate that in our business, people don't realize that if you are kind to people, you're gonna get better performance out of them.
Yes.
You know, even in the acting business, as a director, if I'm acting something, I know that I set the mood
Right.
for the set. I set the environment, and if I come in there and make everybody feel relaxed, chances are my actors are going to do a really, really, really good job.
That's what I try to do with the models. Some of them are very confident, but a lot of them are not. It's like they know they want to be models, but they don't think that they're this or they're that. And I try to encourage everybody. It's all about attitude.
Mm-hmm.
If you think that you look good, you look good.
That's it.
People
Starts in the
that-
head.
Yes, people who are plus size. Oh, No, you are who you are. Be happy with who you are and know that you look good.
Absolutely.
Who you are.
Couldn't said it better. Couldn't have said it better. Now, after I noticed that you do a lot of shows in town, and the latest one you did was very recently. I believe Elegant Ladies' 6th annual Spring into Fashion show. Since then, I've seen you posting a lot of things on social media. You've been busy. Could you tell us about some of the recent work you've done since that fashion show?
I've done some weddings. I had only 3 prom dresses, prom outfits, because one of them wasn't a dress.
Yes.
For this year. And in the process of getting ready for that show, I met, through my husband, a lady from Atlanta who wants me to prepare a show all by myself in November. So I've been busy trying to put that together. Because see, when I do a show, my show, or whether it's my section of somebody else's show, I like it to be a production. You know, like a little, at least the beginning of it, a little story or something. So I've been trying to come together with how am I going to present this in November.
It's that creative mind again, y'all. So when you go see a S.T.A.R fashion show, you're not just seeing a fashion, you're seeing a production. That's fantastic. So Atlanta, huh? So S.T.A.R is crossing the border, y'all. Going to Atlanta for a fashion show. I'm pretty sure you'll be in New York soon. You never know.
You never know. It would be nice.
What kind of struggles you had to deal with to get you where you are? You said that you started late with your baby in the business. What were the stepping stone maybe that you had to overcome to get you where you are now?
Mostly just exposure. Because I didn't go to school to do this, I've had to learn by watching things and people and so forth, and still never knew how to get even where I am now. It was that one connection in the fabric store that started me down this road. I always wanted to do something, didn't know how to start, whatever. And the struggle, I guess, has been just trying to see myself as someone that the Lord has given me a talent for. You call yourself, or you grow up being a Christian, and then you start having your interpretation of what you think Christianity is. And my interpretation was always, you stay the little person. You don't put yourself out there. You don't. And that's not necessarily so.
Until you renewed your mind.
Until I renewed my mind, and my pastor helped me get there. You know, it was like, you know, people would fuss at me, call me names, and step all over me and everything, and I would just cry. And my pastor helped me to, because I thought that's the way a Christian is supposed to be.
That's the Christian way.
And he taught me that no, Christians are to have boundaries, and you don't have to let people abuse you to be a Christian. You don't have to react to them the way they react to you, but you still can step up for yourself.
Absolutely.
And from that, it's like, okay, it's okay. I still am not one to boast. I'm having a hard time, you guys, with this. I don't boast.
She's having a really hard time with this interview, but I told her she's a natural.
but what I'm saying is, I don't believe in tooting my own horn. Everybody that I've known who brags about, oh yes, I sew. Ooh, it's like, you do? I wouldn't tell anybody. You know. So I just, the struggle has been to recognize that God has given me a talent, and I can be proud of that talent without being proud, if that makes any sense.
Yes, indeed.
You know, so I thank Him for giving me that talent. It's something that I thoroughly enjoy. I really do, and I'm thanking Him for taking me on new levels and new heights, even in my old age. Because He said, this is your time, not then.
Wow. Claim it. Claim it. We speak it into existence. Wow. How do we contact you and follow you and stay in touch with you? Because we need to know more. At least my audience does need to know more about S.T.A.R, and stay in touch with you and follow the great work you're doing. And when you're in Atlanta, for them to go there and see the next fashion show you're putting together, what are your social media links and websites, whatever you have going on? Give them to us.
My business is S.T.A.R.
Spell it for them.
SEWSAVOIR-FAIRE. And actually, that's my website, www.SEWSAVOIR-FAIRE.com. And on Facebook, it's So Savoir Faire. I can be reached Bonita Dudley Scott Parker. And on Instagram, I'm So Savvy 7, SEWSAVVY, the number 7. And I don't do Twitter or those other things. That's all I do is Facebook and Instagram.
That's good enough for me. Good enough for me. If you would tell us, you got a younger Bonita who's looking at you right now, gifted like you are. They don't know how to start with this whole thing here. Based on your experience and the things you went through, what would you tell them? How to get started in this business and what to do? Maybe some of the things you wish you had done. What would you tell them right now?
I would tell my young self to first follow the direction of a good instructor. I had the best sewing instructor I could ever. I mean, I love the lady. She taught me a lot. She taught me to appreciate clothing and appreciate how well they're put together. One thing she taught me was to go to a store and look at how clothes are made from the inside. because that usually indicates something, whether it's well made or not, how it's finished and so forth. And I remember being quite lazy at the beginning, not wanting to do all of that until I started. The minute you tell someone, I made something, or they ask you, did you make this? The first thing they do is pick it up and look underneath.
Wow.
To see how it's finished.
Wow.
And I'm like, uh-oh. So I started following my teacher's advice and example. I would say, be proud, do work that you're going to be proud of. Whether a person wears it on the outside or turns it on the inside and, wears it right side out, inside out. Just be the best that you can be. Be committed to what you're doing, what you want to do. If you want to get in this business, I'm sure it would be a lot simpler for you to go to school to do it. There are lots, if you're in the Nashville area, there are lots of design schools in this area. There's Omore in Franklin. There's the Nashville School of Art and Design. I've looked up these places, and you know something? I actually went to the Nashville Art School because I wanted to get some kind of degree in what I do. And the lady told me, in preparation for the interview, to bring something that I'd made. So I did. Now this is gonna sound like bragging.
Go ahead. Tell us what you did.
I brought some dresses for her to just see. And she said, after she gave me the whole financial thing, which blew my mind, she said, but why do you want to come here? I'm like, because I want to learn.
You're already doing what you're trying to learn.
She said that. She said, we can't teach you anything. I'm like, oh, okay, so.
Wow. Gift from heaven.
No, well.
Wow.
God is good.
Amen.
That's another thing. Don't ever feel like you know it all. You can always learn something. I'm still learning every day. I learn something new about the industry, even about the craft. I could do this better, or that, or
Wow.
something.
What is your dream for S.T.A.R? What's the vision?
Can I be honest?
Yeah, tell me.
I know that in this day and age, everybody's looking for a bargain. But I also know that there are people out there who want to be able to say, oh, honey, I've spent $2,000 for this dress. They want to be able to say that. They don't want you to give them some $50, $100, whatever.
Okay.
My dream is to meet those people who want the idea of having something made specifically for them and willing to pay what it's worth.
Wow.
I know that sounds
I like it. Well, listen, you have to have a target audience. So that's it. Come prepared if you're going to come to S.T.A.R.
Well, I mean, I'm not there yet, but
Wow. Well, that's great. That's a wonderful dream. I think it's a challenging dream. It means that you're going to keep pushing your creativity to attract those type of clients. And from what I've seen, you already have it in you. So it's a matter of us getting the clients to you, make it happen. Any last word you want to say? My guests always get to say the last word before I end the show. Any last word you want to say that comes to mind, whether it's about the business or you want to speak to somebody in particular who might be watching you a month, maybe a year from now, we don't know. But whatever comes to mind you'd like to say before we go ahead and close the show.
I would like to quote two people that are very important in my life. Coco Chanel said, "A woman should be elegant, classy, and fabulous." My sewing teacher, her name was Myrtle Wembley, the late Myrtle Wembley, said of men that the best accessory a woman could have is a well-dressed man. So let's all be well-dressed and classy and fabulous.
Wow, fantastic. Fantastic. Let's close with these. Favorite color?
My favorite color is blue.
Blue. Favorite designer? Coco Chanel. We know that now. Are you a morning or night person?
Night.
Night. One thing you like most about yourself?
My creativity, I guess.
Nice, nice. Well, that's our show for today, y'all. This is Max Desir with S.T.A.R Productions, Spiritually Trained and Renewed Productions. Where it's not enough to be talented, you have to be spiritually trained and renewed. Today, my guest is fashion designer Bonita Dudley Scott Parker. So happy you came to see us at S.T.A.R Production. Y'all need to follow her. We're gonna put all of our information down below and keep up with all things sous savoir-faire. Until next time, God bless you. Take care.